We've just stepped into a new year, and it's a perfect time to reflect and consider whether we're living the life that God desires for us. This week, we begin a new series called Better. It's exploring 4 key areas: the priorities, relationships, choices, and witness. Together, we'll discover how small changes can lead us to experience God's fullness and blessings. Let's start with our priorities. Imagine our lives as a container filled with rocks. Large stones are going to represent significant priorities like family, faith, health. Smaller stones represent less critical things like TV and social media and hobbies. If we fill our lives with the smaller stones first, there's no room for the larger ones. However, when we prioritize the big rocks, then the smaller rocks, they're going to fit naturally all around them. Jesus addresses this in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, when he says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." Jesus turns to preaching and teaching about how we have the tendency to worry about our lives. Maybe some of you can relate to this right now. We're worried about paying the bills. We're worried about our children. We're worried about our marriage. We're worried about what this new year might hold. Jesus states that trusting in the Father God is the only way to keep us from being paralyzed by anxiety. When we prioritize God, the rest of our lives fall into order. For example, in marriage, putting God first makes us more loving and more patient. In finances, seeking God helps us to spend wisely. In parenting, we gain patience and grace. The question is, are we seeking God first, or are we distracted by the smaller, less meaningful pursuits? Legendary coach Tom Landry once said, "In 1958, I determined my priorities: God, family, and football." And this clear focus led to his success, reminding us that loving God with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind is essential. As Jesus says in Matthew 22, verses 37 through 39, the greatest commandments are to love God and love others. When we prioritize these, everything else aligns with it. A simple way to guide where we invest our energy this year is by asking one straightforward question: is this eternal or is this temporary? When we focus on serving others, we're investing in their eternal souls, something that holds everlasting value. In contrast, focusing on building a massive 401k centers on something we can't take with us when our life ends. Which one is better? I would argue it's eternal. The Apostle Paul reminds us to focus on eternal, not temporary matters. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is on unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Eternal priorities like serving others and growing in faith have lasting significance. And over the triple doors of the cathedral in Milan are 3 inscriptions carved into magnificent arches. One is of a wreath of roses with the words, "All that which pleases is but a moment." Over another is a cross accompanied by the words, "All that which troubles us is but for a moment." But over the central doorway leading to the main aisle is an inscription that only is important which is eternal. As we begin this new year, and I know we're already halfway through January already, take time to pray and to reflect. Ask yourself these questions. What needs to be reordered in my life? Am I focusing on what truly matters? And then ask God to show you the big rocks in your life and commit to prioritizing them. When we center our lives around God, everything else has a way of working out. I thank you for joining us today. I hope that you enjoyed the message. Maybe it was a message that you were needing to hear. It may have reached you in a place where you needed to hear it today. We invite you to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook so that you don't miss any of these messages that we're going to be putting out each week. Also invite you, if you're in the area, to join us here in Finksburg at Mount Zion United Methodist Church. Our worship time on Sundays is at 10 a.m. and be sure to join us. God bless.